Welcome again to Anything But Politics, because we all need a break. That's right. Once a week, we take a break, and the Live from My Office family. It's not just me. There's a couple other guys. We do anything but politics. And I'm happy to welcome my friend Paul Mecurio here. Paul, you know Paul from a long time in late night now, including the Colbert. I don't even know what to call it at this point. The Colbert insurrection. But we'll get to that. But let me catch up with you first. First, thanks for doing this, and how are you?
I'm great, buddy. It's great to see you again. It's always fun being on. I'm doing good. Summer's good. Just kind of chilling a little bit up in Connecticut, hanging out. Gonna go see my 97, soon to be 98-year-old mother, who is still going like
That's some
robo.
good
Like,
genes, man.
I don't know, man. All she did was drink coffee and eat cheese and mortadella, which is basically, you know, it's
Wow.
like a more. And I was thinking about this the other day because she wanted me to bring her some. I'm like, somebody looked at bologna and said, "Hey, this is too healthy. What could we do to make it really heart attack level? Hey, Giuseppe, let's put some fat in it." Oh my God, that's a brilliant. Like,
Exactly.
it's like, how do you
Exactly.
make that thing worse? But it's her thing, man. You know what I think it is? Like, we could never have potato chips. Like, we never had a lot of processed food and stuff. You're not gonna eat that junk. You're not gonna eat junk food. So when you ate like good, like, pasta and whatever and bread, but it wasn't like junk. And I think that's part of it. And
Somebody put some heat to it, took it out of the refrigerator or the pantry, and cooked
in
up
the
something.
pantry. And then we made the gravy. The real
Yeah,
Italians call it the gravy, the
that's right.
gravy.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
By the way, what
you
do
dip
real
the
Italians call gravy at Thanksgiving?
that brown shit. Pass the brown shit.
Well, this is an interesting thing too. How old was your dad passed?
Yeah, he
How old
was
was he?
64 when he passed.
So we're in the same spot. My dad passed at 60, 68, I guess. 68, 69.
Hmm.
His
Hmm.
mom lived to be 101. So, you do the math, you take the split. I got 87, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that's about his twin brother, identical twin brother, died at 55. They all died of heart attacks, and it was, by the way, identical twin, the coolest thing on the history of the planet because so my father, World War II guy, went to World War II when he
Yeah.
was 18, 19. Oh, we dug up a picture of him. He's in his sailor suit. He was like a baby, looked like a baby when he
Right.
went off to war,
Right.
like
Right.
crazy, like these little cherubic face. So my uncle Benny moves to California in like the 50s and makes a lot of money, different like, restaurant, bar, this liquor store, blah, 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 this and that. And he becomes Hollywood. So my father's this blue collar guy, Pontiac Bonneville, Budweiser's, put floors in for a living. My uncle Benny would come back twice a year, once in the summer, and he hated to fly, and he only drove powder blue Eldorado
My
Cadillacs, white
God.
convertible. Oh
Back
my
to the
God.
old neighborhood. He's lucky he lived.
I know, exactly. So he would drive it to Detroit because he had a guy in Detroit who got him a deal, and he would trade in his car for a new car and then drive it. But he dressed like Elvis. He had mutton chops, horseshoe diamond pinky ring,
Wow.
and filterless cigarettes, the Camels, and the tumbler of scotch. So it was like but he looked exactly like my father. So it was like someone took my father and sent him into a room and dressed him, and he came out, and it was the cool version of my father. I
Right.
was completely. I look back. This guy had 4 kids, so it's him, his wife, 4 kids staying at a Holiday Inn, and me. I would stay with them for 2 weeks because I
Wow.
couldn't. I couldn't, and I remember just sitting in the pool. My uncle was sitting on the deck, with a drink or whatever, and I was just staring at him like every move, everything. I was like, what a pain in the ass I was, but it was the coolest thing
Right.
ever. And he was like the other version of my father. And they had old pictures of, like, they had the little knickers, like the Italian family picture with the father with his,
Sure.
like, and they had to put a handkerchief. They dressed him exactly the same, but had a handkerchief in my father's one of the pockets, so that even the family could tell who was Benny and who was
Wow. Even at
my
that
father.
point.
Yeah, even at that point, yeah, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
I had an Uncle Dana. He was the youngest brother to my father, who was a complete lunatic. But I remember one of the reasons I loved making people laugh is because he was always funny. Now,
Yeah,
his backstory was I don't ever remember him working, but he drove to Mexico and Canada a lot, and he always had money. So once I got on the air, I said, listen, when the black cars roll up in front of your house and take you away and you get one call me and give me the first interview before you call an attorney. And he lived to be 94, 94,
It's
95.
amazing. There
Just
were so many characters.
loved life.
One of these like just full of life,
Yeah.
set life of the party, right? My uncle, my uncle was a barber. I would go. You could always tell if my uncle was in a bad mood based on my haircut because he was in a bad mood. He didn't give a shit. He just butchered the shit out of me because it was free and he wanted me to get out of the chair. And then, like, I didn't know what was going on. So my uncle, a guy would come in and they'd shake hands and then they go in the back room. Then they come out of the back room and they'd shake hands again. And there was like a little piece of paper in one hand and money in the other. And he was booking numbers out of the back.
Sure was.
And
Yeah.
and I didn't realize it. And then years later, his son, my cousin Bobby, started booking numbers. But he was like right out of like again central casting, standing on the street corner with the tight white pants
Yeah.
and the white light, and
Yeah.
his legs are always moving, like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Like he's got a live snake in his pants.
And he had a guy for everything, not just his car, right? He had a guy for everything.
And he had it. So my parents had a furniture business. We had a family furniture, and he came in one night. One day, my mother's name is Tina. He goes, "Hey, Auntie Tina, I'm in your business now." He goes, "What?" She goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I'm selling mattresses." Because he always had a thing. They
Right.
always got a thing, right?
Right.
I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, she goes, "Bobby, what do you know about mattresses?" He goes, "What's to know?" He goes, "I was at the dump the other day. I saw this big pile of mattresses. I'm like, look at these fucking things. They're just sitting here." So he goes, I rented a truck and I took like 20 of them. I know this Chinese guy. I had him recover them. I'm selling them for like $400 a mattress. I probably all in for my mother's like, you're out of your mind. Then there was it was opposite ends of the spectrum in my family. So there was like this sort of, a little bit of crime is okay part of the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was my Uncle John, who was brilliant. He was literally they could only afford to send one. There were five kids in my mother's family. My grandparents, born in Italy, came here on both sides, my father and my mother. So they could only afford to send one kid. So it was like the Sophie choice thing. So clearly it was going to be Uncle John because it was going to be wasted on him because he was the
Sure.
brilliant. The other ones
Sure.
are like half whatever, half a brain. So they send him to Georgetown Dentistry School. He's a dentist. He was so brilliant that as a student, he was actually teaching at the school already. But he was this psycho crazy hair. He'd walk around, one of these guys like thinking about like he knew the history of calculus, but to the point where like, but he'd forget to dress himself properly. So he'd go out and his like pants were undone and his shirt tail sticking out of his zipper. And my mother would see him in the supermarket and like revert back to being the kid and like dressing, Johnny, look at you. But he was crazy, had crazy hair and he was racist. Like he hated, like, he just thought all black people were like terrible. Like, and he would smoke Viceroys and he would smoke like incessantly, nonstop. And he would smoke while he worked on you in the chair. So one day he puts me in the chair and he puts the bib on. And now I'm on my back, and he would rant and rave about, God, politician, blah, blah," and he's working on you, and he's got the cigarette in his mouth, and it's not leaving his mouth. So now the smoke starts to go into his eye. So now one eye's closed because
With
it's
this.
burning, and he's like trying to do my thing, right? Working on my teeth, like drilling, and he's with not one eye, right? And now I'm just looking up because I'm watching the ash get longer and longer and longer, and he doesn't flick the ash. So now I'm just waiting for the. So sure enough, he moves his head. The ash is about 2 inches long. It flicks down, falls onto my bib, and the bib catches fire.
Wow.
It burns a hole. The whole thing goes like this. It burns a hole and burns my shirt, and I have like a second-degree burn on my
Wow.
chest. I always would say people knew when I went to the dentist because I had third-degree burns on my face.
So you settle down after this, and what happens? Does he apologize? Does he go, "Hey, kid, you
Yeah,
okay?"
just when he went like this, he goes, "Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine."
Get
Instead
back
of
in the
putting it out
chair.
like that, get back in the chair. He
So
was out of his
it's
mind.
amazing, isn't it? Because you've got kids, I've got kids.
Mm,
Kids grow up in the same house, and they can be so dramatically different.
it's true.
And you think
Yeah.
about your father's generation. I mean, the three boys you're describing are pretty different.
Oh my God. They were like, it was just insane. And then we would have these big family Italian dinners at my uncle Archie. He was the barber. He was the one that ran numbers. And so my uncle John would be there, and then my cousin Bobby, the guy that was, doing his thing and selling mattresses and this and that. And they'd start arguing. And they'd be, Bobby, you're a bum. You don't do anything. Ah, what do you know? Look at you. You're so smart with your education. Your fly's undone. Like, and they would just go at it. And I just remember being a kid, like, this is pretty awesome. Like,
Right,
and this
right.
is and this is when everybody smoked everywhere. So it was
Yes.
like all of a bunch of Italians either smoking Pall Mall, filterless Pall Malls, or like cigars or pipes. I have no idea how I don't have some kind of cancer
Same
because it
here.
was like
Never smoked in
it.
my life. My father lit one up with the one that was in his mouth all day long, 4 packs a day. I remember in a green Ford Galaxy in the middle of winter in upstate New York, driving through a snowstorm, cracking the window, rolling the window, boys and girls, rolling the window, no buttons, and just cracking it that much. And he'd go, "What the hell is wrong with you? It's winter. Roll it up." I go, "I'm trying not to be a smoked ham in the back seat. What are you doing?"
Smoked it exactly.
It's
It's like
crazy.
my uncle Ralph smoked Pall Malls, and he had a Mustang, and it was the same thing, rolled on, but it was the winter, so they were rolled up, and he would light that thing up. And I got to tell you that first when he first gets lit, there's something. It smelled great, like when a cigarette first gets lit. But then, at some point, it was like a Cheech and Chong movie. We're just rolling down the
Yeah.
highway, and this cloud and he just never opened the window. And
And the
I
only good news is if you were small enough as a little kid, there were no seatbelts because you'd be told, "You don't like the seatbelt, shove it down in the seat. Get it out of your way, shove it down in the seat." So
right,
you found out early the lower you get, the less smoke. So you'd be laying across the hump and hoping we
right.
weren't driving to California.
Exactly. We used to go cross country in California in our Pontiac Bonneville station wagon, and
Smoking
like
the whole way.
smoking, 5 kids and a dog, and they never wanted to stop. We're not stopping. We got to make time.
Wow.
So I would have to climb into the way back and get on my knees, and I'd have to pee in a Dixie cup,
Right.
moving like this.
Right.
Half of it's like on me, half of it's, and then I would hand it to my mother. She'd roll the window down and just drop the cup. It was like start to finish the most inappropriate, like, what is what you did? It was like what you did. And there were no seatbelts.
No,
There were no
shove him down.
seatbelts.
Shove him down in the back. Shove him down.
Big
Yeah.
metal dashboard. So when you get in an accident, you're gonna die.
Right.
You're
Right.
done.
Right. The
Too much.
airbag was your beer belly if you drank enough. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's good
Too
times.
funny.
Good
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
so let's catch up on what you're doing.
Mm,
You guys are dark in fancy show business terms. It means the late show's down for 2 or 3 weeks, or most of August, I
yeah.
guess. And
Yeah.
then you and Colbert and everybody, you come back beginning of September. So what are you doing?
I'm doing, my stand up, and I'm doing my Broadway, off Broadway show, Permission to Speak, that we talked about on your show before, and I brought to Chicago, and we're, doing it on tour, and we're doing it online now, called Permission to Speak Online. So it's on, people can go to Patreon if they want to, support it or
Just
whatever. It's
permission
on
to
my
speak. Just search it for. Yeah. Okay.
patreon.com/permission to speak, and people can check out their clips and online shows that we recorded that are on my YouTube channel, and it's been really fun. And the show is, for people not heard about it, it's kind of born out of my stand up and just starting, riffing with people, and talking to them in the crowd a little bit, and but between jokes, kind of stuff we do, and then just asking that second, third, and fourth question and getting these amazing stories from people. And some people saw me doing it and thought they were plants, and they're like, that could be a show. And the premise is that we're sort of disconnected and divisive, but if we get together and share stories in this kind of non-judgmental, say
Sure.
whatever you want environment where people aren't walking on eggshells, you realize, like, we actually have a lot more in common than we think, and maybe you connect a little bit better. And
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
really the
honestly,
show.
not to get too heavy, but I think that show, as you described, that's exactly what we need right now to show that
That's
you
what
can
people have
talk
been.
to each other.
Yeah, that's what people have been saying, because there are really no rules. I except just be who you are and say what you want to say. I don't care if it gets serious or it gets maudlin. It usually, there's always comedy somewhere in something, even the serious or the sad or whatever. And then the people are like so great, because I think they know one of the big comments we get is, we like that we feel like you could just say whatever you want. Like, there's no judgments. It's funny, people never really bring up politics because I think people are tired of it and don't want to deal with it. So it really ends up being about people's lives. And then you just get these stories from people, and their personalities come out, and they're inherently funny. And because they're comfortable they know how to basically tell a joke or a punchline, even though they're
Yeah.
not doing jokes per se, but they know how to tell a funny story perfectly because they're comfortable.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see you brought a clip and
Yeah.
you'll see the guy, which of course you kind of need to do to fully appreciate it. But you can get this from the audio as well if you're listening. So set this up and we'll play the clip.
So this is a guy, bring him on stage. I don't know. I just randomly just start bringing people on stage. And that started because I would talk to people in the audience, but then the people in the back couldn't see the people in the front. And sometimes you need to see the people. So I just started to bring him on stage and it just worked organically. So I bring this guy up and he's full, I call him Hunter Dad. He's like full on. He's a hunter. He looks like a hunter. He's got like a winter hat on and he's got like big boots and he hunts and blah, blah, blah. And so you kind of expect to get a certain kind of vibe, a certain kind of guy with that, like kind of maybe not the most introspective guy, but it was such a great surprise. He was so great, and
He's
this is what he gave
fantastic.
us.
Yeah, take a look.
Yeah.
You're very funny, by the way.
Though my wife doesn't agree with you.
Is your wife here?
No.
What's the hardest thing about being a parent?
Always thinking you made mistakes, probably.
I know,
But you
right?
have to make mistakes, I think.
You think so?
It's how you become a better person.
That's great. I've made mistakes.
We all make mistakes. That's
Yeah.
literally the definition
My son's
of
here.
a human.
Alex, did I make mistakes?
At least one, right?
You know what I love about that guy? I love everything about that guy. But you know what I love about that guy is he doesn't want to go home because there's trouble at home. But when he says, whether it's with you on stage or anywhere, everybody that knows that guy knows, well, he doesn't talk much, but when he does, it's always
He's
good.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah, yeah. And
How big was
and
he? He looked like he's about 6'4".
he was big. He was like 6'4", and I brought him up, and I brought another guy up, and the other guy. I have this clip too. Another time I come on, we'll play it, but I'll tell you anyway. So I bring this other, and this guy's like a wiry guy with long blonde hair and a baseball cap. So it's totally like he looks like Trailer Park, right? And I go, "What do you do?" And he's like kind of a dude, like, "Hey man, you know." And I said, "The guy, what do you do?" He goes, "Well, I put in sprinkler systems, on for you put them right into the lawn of
Yeah, right,
people's
right, right.
houses." And I go, "You look like," I go, "You look like you smoke weed." He goes, "Oh yeah." I go, "You ever get really high and not dig deep enough?" And the pipes are too shallow and you have to redo it. He goes, all the time. And the place goes
Of
crazy.
course.
So he's with this guy that we just talked about and saw, Hunter Dad. And the Hunter Dad guy was, as he walks up, he says to me, I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be up here. He whispers. And then he totally destroys me,
Right,
like totally
right,
took over. But my favorite thing is when I say you're pretty funny, he goes, my wife doesn't think like
right,
it's a beat.
right,
And
right, right.
you were actually saying he probably married. We were
He,
talking a
he
little bit
married the
off air.
prettiest girl in high school, and he thought, I won the jackpot. Few years down the road now, I don't know how many kids he's got, but he wakes up every morning going, I should have waited. I should have waited. Because she didn't like him. He didn't like her all that much, but they're in it now. And just once he'd like her to look at him and go, oh, that was funny, honey, and mean it.
I mean it.
Right?
Oh my God.
That's
you
the
totally
guy.
Nailed it.
All right.
You
So
totally
here
nailed
on
it.
Anything But Politics, and we'll double back on the other stuff you have going on.
Yeah,
And we will talk about the Late Show. But here on Anything But Politics, I like to pick stories that are not getting covered because everybody's talking about the dumb things Trump says and there's responses from the Democrats. And, a lot of news goes under the radar and you don't see it. So I love this story and it kind of ties into what we're talking about. Here's the headline. Florida man breaks into random house, runs a bath, cooks a dinner, all to avoid going home to his very angry wife. How mad does she have to be that you burglarize a house?
It's like you make a judgment call right there. You're standing on the front lawn going, jail time or her? Jail time
Right,
or her?
right,
Jail time.
right,
Let's go. Let's go. I would rather be violated by a large man
right.
than go back to that.
Yeah,
To that.
So this is Polk County, Florida. It happened in June, and a bunch of neighbors started going, they're out of town. I don't know what's going on at the house. A little bit weird. Cops walk in. Guy's name is Joe. He's 44. He was cooking himself pork chops.
Of course he was.
And he had just run a bubble bath.
I would have thought he'd be a vegan.
Right? Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, he just wanted to pamper himself. Come on. He
Right.
doesn't want to pamper himself.
Every once in a while, you want to feel pretty.
What is going on in that house how bad is it that you don't want to go back to that? That's like that if he's trying to get her to go to therapy and that doesn't get her to go to therapy, then
Right.
nothing's going to get her to go to
Well,
therapy.
you also have to wonder, don't you? You go, okay, it's probably not going to work out. Maybe I need to go see a lawyer. But first, I'm going to commit a felony and draw myself a bubble bath.
Now, I assume if the people are away that the pork chops were frozen, so he had to defrost the pork
Sure.
chops.
Absolutely.
You got to season them. You got to let them marinate a
Got to
little bit.
do the right thing. Yeah. I love that guy.
Oh my God. I wonder if he got naked and slept in the bed. He probably did.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Walking around scratching himself.
I'm going to go. The couple that owns the place comes home. It's like, honey, why is there pubic hair all over the couch?
Right. Got the blue light out checking. Look, it's no good. No good.
This is like a Ramada Inn. What the hell happened to this place? Jesus Christ.
Speaking of crimes, let's go to story number 2 here. Thieves stole $2 million from jewelry from a Seattle store in 90 seconds.
No.
90 seconds. A group of thieves stole millions of dollars. Family-owned jewelry store, broad daylight. There were reports of a robbery at the Menashe & Sons jewelry store. Ask for it by name when you're in West Seattle. 4 masked suspects. They used hammers to smash a locked front door, destroyed 6 cases, loaded up what they want, knew what they were looking for, and they're armed with a taser and bear spray. Is that what we're using in the crime community now? Bear spray?
Yes, exactly. Well, it's that. Plus, there are groundhogs in the store, and if you put bear urine down, they run away. So what? So if you've got this, if you can do it in 90 seconds, was there a display that just says "steal these"?
Well, you got to figure, in old terms, I suppose, but you got to figure they were casing the joint, right? They probably went in. Oh, I got to get a ring for my wife, whatever. One of them's a jewelry expert, maybe more. They know the position of the case. Then they come back, and it's. But I'm telling you, I'm not saying they shouldn't go to jail. But 90 seconds has got to be some sort of Olympic record or personal best. Maybe let them keep 500,000 in merchandise.
I was going to say, if I'm the judge, I'm giving them a suspended sentence because you got to be impressed, like that you can work that quickly,
right?
You're only traumatized for 90 seconds too. If you're there on the other side of it, you're the victim. It's like, what's the big deal? But 90 seconds still, even casing the joint, like. I don't know, because I know me, and I'd start looking at other stuff that I didn't plan to take and trying to decide. I'd be like, I don't know, I kind of like the sapphire, and my partners would be like, just grab it and go. I'm like, I don't know, but my wife's really a ruby person, and these are sapphire. Just grab it and go.
Yeah, and listen, you're not sexist. I'm not sexist at all. But I will say this. This is probably why you don't have to look for a woman to be part of that crew. Because I've never known or loved a woman who wasn't in a jewelry store who had to spend at least the next month there and look around and maybe this and maybe that. They got in and out in 90 seconds. Maybe she's running the whole thing, but they got in and out in 90 seconds.
They in and out 90 seconds. It's like, and then you got to sit there if you own the store and you're like, man, we should have made it a little harder on them.
Right.
Like you have to feel, I have that whole regret. I'm like the regret thing, whatever. I'll look back and go, oh, I should have done it this way or whatever. I'd be sitting there going, if I'm owning the store and I'm talking to my manager, I'm like, guys, how do they get out of here in 90 seconds?
Right.
We got to make it harder on them. How about a pit bull? Can we have a pit bull in the place?
Rumble strip on the front door, right? I mean, something to slow them down. One of those speed bumps you get in suburbia so they trip when they're walking out. I don't know. All right. Now you travel all the time for the show. And again, check out that Patreon channel, Permission to Speak, YouTube as well. But did you know there are rules that all the airlines have, and they almost never enforce them for watching R-rated movies? Now, when you're watching the movie, most planes, your seat's got its own screen, unless it's a super short commuter flight. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, please respect the people around you, because there could be kids around you or just people that don't want to be a part of your little perverted movie choice. One of the choices would be don't offer those.
Why is that man taking his pants off while he watches the movie?
Right.
Turn away.
Right. Hey, is that Toy Story 5? What's happening there? But tell me if you would follow these.
Why is he playing with this Woody? I had to. I
set you
up. It was right there. It was a softball.
It was a T-ball. Are you kidding me?
I would have been thrown out of comedy if I didn't go after
True. The commission was already looking into it. All right. So they say it is kind and expected that you will check in with your row mates, the people in your row, tell them what you're watching, and just ask them if it's okay. And you just got to go, what color is the sky in your world? Where you think you're going to ask a complete stranger, do you mind if I watch Debbie Does All of Texas while we sit here? I mean, come on.
Just to give you at about 13 minutes in, there's going to be an unbelievable gangbangs. You may
Yeah.
want to use that time to go to the bathroom because that's the big gangbang.
You'll know when I reach for my zipper that it's time to get up and take a walk.
Listen to me, sir. If you hear me go, then you need to go and
Right.
leave the row. I'm supposed to talk and confer with somebody.
You're
Really?
supposed to ask.
We live in a world where people aren't holding doors for each other anymore.
Right.
Really?
Right.
This is what we're doing now.
Have you run into, in all the flying you do, have you run into the thing where somebody gets on the plane, you've got a seat, you chose it, you did your front work, right? You picked your seat ahead of time. I mean, I'm an aisle guy. I'm on the aisle, and somebody will come in and go, oh, I'm traveling, with my 14 children. I was wondering if you could move to 37B or something like that. And then you got to look like, feel like you're the bad guy for a second. And I did it a couple times back in the day. Nah, not anymore.
What I do is I say, why don't you take your kid and put it in the overhead above you, and then you can peek at any moment in time. You can peek in on them during the flight. You know what drives me absolutely crazy? And my wife's trying to get me not to confront people, but I do believe if you confront, people's behavior will change. There's just something in my DNA. I can't keep my mouth shut. Here's the deal, folks. You leave in the plane. You've probably heard this from other people, but I'm going to say it. Just don't try to skip ahead when I'm waiting. Okay, if I'm in 15 and you're in 16, don't try to get ahead of me because I'm going to say something and I take a taser with me. I will tase you if you try to get ahead of my row. It's like drives me crazy.
Well, you're right, because we live in a basic civilized society where there are rules that everybody has to follow. And I don't get why everybody's lined up as fast as they possibly can to get on the plane. They got to get on the plane. You're in group 6. Yeah, can I go now? Everybody can't wait. They're getting in front of military personnel, handicapped folks.
Thank you. And like business people waiting, and it's always like the guy with 18 tattoos that lives in the woods and drinks his own urine to survive and doesn't have a job anyway. He's in a rush.
Right.
He's in a rush to go find a bar of soap.
But they get on the plane first, and then they can't wait to get off.
Exactly.
How does that make sense?
I don't know. Well, they got on first because they're worried that all the snacks are going to get given away, and that's the only way they eat. And talking about modes of transportation, this has been this whole riding a bike thing. If you ride a bike and stop. If you're over the age of 6, stop riding a bike. I don't like people on bikes. I'm sorry. I don't know if you ride bikes, whatever, ride a bike. But especially in a city like Chicago or New York, they create bike lanes. They don't adhere to the traffic laws. They go against traffic. I always say I'm going to get nailed going looking down uptown, and somebody's coming the wrong direction on 3rd Avenue, and they come by first of all, they're all in that ridiculous bicycle garb with those dorky helmets. They look like sausage casing. They're all
if it's a dude, they clearly hate their testicles because they just wrap themselves up tighter than one of those casing situations.
Right.
No, you're 1,000% right.
And then the other thing is, and don't do this, they bring their bike on the subway. You don't bring your bike on the subway. You know what you do? Ride your bike.
Right.
You don't bring it. You figured out a way to make a horrible experience riding the subway worse by having me go 5 stops with your handlebars up my ass to save the planet. Stop. It's not a moving bike rack. It's a friggin' subway.
Right.
Have some balls and ride your bike. I don't do that. I don't go to the airport and check my car in the overhead. Okay?
Right.
Jesus Christ.
You're
I can't
completely
stand
right.
these people
No,
on
completely
bikes.
right. You're right. You have the bike. It has wheels. Get off the train.
It's ridiculous. I had a guy come on with one of those motorized bikes. I shot him in the head.
On the
I
subway.
didn't care.
Well, you know what? No judge will convict you. No judge will convict you.
Your Honor, please, you dismissed.
You know what you're talking about. It happened to me where I pulled in and I'm going to turn right on red, which was perfectly legal. I look both ways. And when I go to make the turn, a bike messenger, and these are the guys who come down the center lane in between 2 cars. And, it's a stunt show for them. I go to make the right turn. The guy runs into my car. I got hit by a bike. I didn't hit the biker. The bike hit me. So the bike goes up, didn't damage my car, damaged his bike. And he gets out, and I'm going, and I'm concerned, obviously. I go, you all right? Listen, don't move. You okay? He gets up. He's okay. He's limping a little bit. He goes, you destroyed my bike. I go, well, first off, for points of clarity, you destroyed your bike. I didn't destroy my bike. And there were some people there that recognized me, and they go, oh, yeah. So now it's a little tense. And he goes, we'll call the police. I go, yeah, they should find out about how you hit me. And he goes, well, you owe me a new bike. I go, not really. No, I don't see it going down that way. And by this lasting memory, after he was just a dick, he picks up his bent bike with the bent wheel and he limps down the sidewalk.
It's the best.
Justice served. So
it's the best. It's
all right.
The best.
I'm keeping you wait. I'm keeping you way too long. Let's talk about the Colbert Show for a second. Everybody now knows that in a true move of a real power of the administration and taking on things that really should be top of the agenda, it's a longer story, but a deal needed to get done for a really rich person to get even richer. And they were concerned Trump was going to step on it. So part of the deal was Colbert would have to be canceled. And then all of late night on CBS was canceled. And amongst the cowardly explanations I heard, and I'd be curious to see what you think about this, I think it might be the Skydance CEO, maybe the new person that came in, or maybe it was a CBS type, said, well, when Taylor Sheridan decided she wasn't going to continue, that's really when we made up our minds that we probably are going to just end the whole late night franchise. Now, God bless Taylor. Taylor's very funny, very talented. But Taylor Sheridan's show made about $4. And it was funny and it was good and it deserved better, but she wanted to go back to do stand-up and do other things. Nobody in TV cancels the number one show in a category or a time slot. It doesn't happen. So that had to be a very weird, and probably is still weird couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's like, there's something going on, and this is just me talking personally. I don't talk for CBS or the show or whatever, but it's like you just said it. Even though late night's not what it used to be, like, Johnny Carson had 15 million viewers. Everything's watered down because of, digital and streaming and this and that. It's still the number one show in late night. Our numbers are trending up. And it did definitely like come as a surprise. And it's like, you look at Trump, this goes back to 2016. Remember, he first came in and he wanted to get SNL canceled because they were doing especially Baldwin was really like doing all those impressions of him and blah, blah, blah. And it's like he just can't stand it when, I think he's jealous that we were getting laughs on purpose. And he
was accidentally, that's brilliant. I love that.
And it was like, maybe threatened by the show, but like, how could you be threatened by a late night show? Stephen Colbert has a desk and a mug. You have the nuclear codes. You win. You win. Like, and then, so it's just.
It's such a window into his lack of a soul. Now, this is anything but politics, so we're not going to go deep down this road, but it's such a window into that. Now, of course, the upshot is you were number one for a reason. I'm a late night guy. Everybody, I grew up on Carson, grew up on Dave, and all the way through. And this will turn into an on-demand sort of thing. Colbert and you guys, you're going to end up wherever you want to end up. But to have the president of the United States pull the trigger on it is it's ridiculous, and it's a bad joke. So going forward, I assume you guys have no idea what the next step is because you still have 8-9 months to run, right?
I don't know. I just got a permit for a hot dog stand, so I'm doing hot dogs.
Fantastic.
Just as a backup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good fallback.
And
the rule in New York, every spring you have to change the water. Don't forget about that.
I'm doing it every other spring.
Okay.
I'm trying to be conscious of the environment.
Saving
so I don't
money.
Use too much water. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I could see it taking form in a slightly different form. You know what I mean? Super talented people on the show could do anything creatively that, frankly, the show wants to do. Maybe there's I don't know, sketch. Maybe I don't know. Like, I'm not like I'm not speaking officially. I know Stephen was psyched to keep doing the show, and we all were. So
you don't think he's done?
I mean, that's just my gut. I don't have anything official on it, but it's like, it's like when you see something like this and it's a cancellation, and it's weird because Trump usually only cancels things after he doesn't pay for them. And so like what? So there's a new thing that happens every day in your life, and it's I mean, look, I used to do M&A deals, merger and acquisitions. That's kind of what I
That's
did in my previous
your
life,
lawyer
a
life.
lawyer, banker. Yeah, so I understood that there was sort of a lot at stake. It was an $8 billion deal, and so I don't know. It's a weird thing, and it's a weird time, and I feel like the brand is the brand, and Steven's name is as big as you get. If
And
I want to
I
have,
think you guys and Stephen, I mean, I think Stephen's as good or better than he's ever been. So, just as a fan, I personally hope he continues.
yeah, and so I mean, I think we all do, and I feel like, if just from a pure business standpoint, if I'm a network or a platform, I'd be like, well, this is a no-brainer because we don't have to build the guy's profile or name. You just say his name and you know what you're getting. We just give him a time slot, right? Whether it's this show or some version of it, or I don't know. Look, I don't know. Maybe it's juggling monkeys. We do a juggling Stephen Colbert's juggling monkey show. I
I
mean,
just got
you know,
word that Juggling Monkeys was canceled by Trump this morning. They got the
he didn't
pilot.
like.
Hulu approved the pilot and they shut
But
it
then the
down.
monkeys, there was a picture of Trump, and the monkeys are throwing their feces at the picture
Yeah.
of Trump, and he
Yeah.
finally.
I'm violating again the anything with politics rule, but who handled this better than anybody? And it should have been the absolute template for anybody in the White House was George H.W. Bush, the original President Bush. Dana Carvey's impression of him, and again, it's a different time, late 80s, early
Yeah,
90s,
right.
was not as cutting as Trump's. But Bush didn't go on and go, well, I don't like that too much. He didn't go on and shoot it down. He became
You leave it
friends
alone.
with Dana Carvey.
Yeah. Didn't they
Dana,
even do like something together,
they
like a sketch
traveled
or something?
together. Yes, they did sketches, but he was friends. He was invited to the family's occasions. It doesn't have to be that. And it shows how weak he can be because why would you want to put out an image that you're being bothered by something on television? Don't you have something a little more important to do?
It's like, I don't, it's like, I don't know. Maybe he's pissed because our ratings are higher than his indictment hearings. I don't know, but like
Good
he's
point.
got this thing of like we were talking about this off air a little bit. If it were I were irked by it like that, I'd just leave it alone because you just draw more attention to it. Just, I mean, yeah, we're number one in late night, but there's a whole bunch of stuff hitting people all the time now. So it's not like what was happening and what we were saying, or what even Kimmel goes after him too, and we would go after Biden as well, and Kamala Harris and the Democrats. I mean, everybody gets it. It's not like it's, oh my God, we're the only person out there doing this. And so it's top of the news page on the AP News or Yahoo News or whatever, or the Wall Street Journal. Like, we're just part of the din. Like, just leave it alone. Just like go hit golf balls and then cheat when people aren't looking. Do what you do. You know what I mean? Move the ball with your little fat, chubby foot with your
Right.
cankles.
Right.
Just so we're clear, everybody, I know we're not talking politics, but we have a president with cankles. I just want to make that very clear to everybody listening and watching.
And well, if he ever goes into the witness protection program, I like the sound of President Cankles. It's got a certain ring to it, certain something. So there's something there.
As long as you call me president, you can call
Yeah,
me
there's something
cankles.
there. All right, listen, you're too kind to hang as long as you have. So let's get the plugs in again. If people want to see where you're doing stand up or
Stand-up touring,
and where the next
paulmecurio.com.
permission to speak is, where are we going?
Where
PaulMecurio.com?
they can go to paulmecurio.com, and they can come to my YouTube channel, Paul Mecurio, youtube.com/Paul Mecurio, and we're doing the show. We're doing another show tomorrow night, the live online Patreon show, and you don't have to be a Patreon member to be part of it. So that'll be tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern time. People can check that out. And so, yeah, it's all over the place. And yeah, man, I'm bummed you're going to be in New York and I'm not going to be in New York.
Yeah, little family trip, quick thing. And you decided to leave town when you heard I was coming.
It's a thing. You
It's
know
a
what I
thing.
mean?
You know
I'm
what?
hanging out with Trump.
If you get a chance, swing by Colbert's house because I think Ted Sarandos has got a tent on his lawn right now. The guy that runs Netflix, just trying to get Stephen to agree to whatever's next.
It
But I
sounds
could
like
be
a
wrong.
big
I
thing.
could be wrong.
George Soros is writing the checks.
Right, I could be wrong.
Oh, my
You're the
God.
best, buddy. I miss you.
Yeah,
Great seeing your
yeah.
face, and go kill it on the road.
All right, brother. And next time you're in New York, we got to get
We got to
together
time
when
it.
I'm there. Time it, or when I'm back in Chicago.
100%. There you go. Paul Mecurio, one of the funniest dudes I've ever met. And I know.
You're the best. Thanks, buddy.